1 second. Control with my phone. All right, 1 second. Hold on. Just needed to make sure I press record because I just did this whole thing talking to the camera and I wasn't recording. But now I am, I think. Welcome back. Thanks for coming. It's the Hotline Show, June 9th, 2024. It's the 15th one. Can you believe it? 15 weeks. Every week just gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Pretty soon it's just going to be me and you talking here together. Just two of us. If you don't know what the Hotline Show is, the Hotline Show, people call the number below in the description. They might have moved it to the other side. Call that number, ask a question. It can be about anything. Most people want to call and talk about photography, but you can do anything else. Like Lloyd from Brooklyn, who called a couple weeks ago. He was at the botanical garden and he was using the Merlin Bird ID app to identify birds. And he wanted to see if I was doing that, taking part in the Global Big Day. Yes, Lloyd, I was. And the Merlin Bird ID app has literally changed my life. And I recommend it. Anyone and everyone downloads that app and uses it. When you hear a bird, just hold the app up, Shazam for birds. You live in magic. Patrick, the meaning of life. We're going to get back to that question. I got a bunch of questions this week, too many to do all of them. So I just want to let you know, Patrick, thanks for the call. What is consciousness? We'll get there. Scott from Wisconsin and the batteries. What a great question. Fascinating topic. Maybe we'll do a whole video just on batteries and my power tools because it's kind of interesting. Maybe. Might be interesting for the YouTube nerds who just like to see things that people buy because they want to buy stuff all the time. All you want to do is buy things, but you don't want to make the wrong choice. So you watch countless hours of people's experiences with something that you may not want to buy, but then you don't know, and it just leads you into a spiral, and then you get it, and then you're disappointed because everything is fucking garbage now. We'll get there, Scott. Thanks for the call. But we have other calls lined up. I'm going to play them for you now. Oh, before we do, yes, I got a haircut. And I don't know. Also, my dad said I look tired. I am. And Paul said my last video was boring. He watched it on 1.3x speed. Kind of made me feel bad. First caller.
Hello, Noah. It's Peter from Germany again. First of all, I'm so glad you are back, and I hope your health is good. In the meantime, I've accumulated quite a few questions for you, but I will keep it short with just two questions. First, I don't remember seeing any Noah photos in black and white, always color. Why is that? Do you not like black and white? Second, what has happened to the incredible moss path after your neighbor moved away? Is it still there? It looks like a fairy tale. Happy summer to you and all the other viewers. Thank you.
Peter from Germany. Thank you. Thank you for calling. You call every week, and I'm going to answer your questions every week. Now, a few things here. Some people think that you are fake, and I am making you the Peter from Germany character up. That is not true. I do not know who Peter from Germany is. People have literally analyzed handwriting samples that they see in my notes, and then they saw that package that you sent me. Anyway, regarding black and white, I just prefer color. I learned on black and white. Obviously, I could develop film. I had my own darkroom. Used to make prints, Tri-X. But color is just how I prefer to see the world. That said, I know, Peter, you seem to go pretty far back with me and my work, which is amazing. I mean, the Chuck and the Moss Paths, that's 8 years ago. So I don't even know how much further back you're going. But you might not have gone that far back because in 2009, I put out a magazine called Kalina Magazine. And the very first issue was all photographs in black and white. So there, I've done it and I will do it. It just depends. I just don't do it that much. You know, one time, phase one, they lent me a black and white digital back. It's like achromatic or something. And I shot with that for about a week or two. I just don't really see the purpose of shooting exclusively black and white unless certainly there are artists who do that and it's good. I love it. But just not my thing. I don't know why anyone would buy a back specifically to just have the option of black and white. I don't really see that much of a difference. Maybe I don't know how to process black and white. I don't know. It's like a sensor thing. They say it's amazing. Is it? I don't know. You just turn a color photo black and white. Oftentimes people turn color photos black and white when the color photo is not good too. So it's like a photo cliche trope. That's that. Also, you're with the friend, the neighbor who had the Moss Paths. That's amazing. You recognize that person. You remember that. That's like old Instagram for me. If people don't know, it was my friend Chuck. I used to film videos with him all the time. I love him. I haven't spoken to him in a while. I should probably call him. Maybe I will today. But if you don't know, this is a quick video of Chuck on the Moss Paths.
The first time we did this, it started off, this was going to be a motorcycle track. We did the whole thing. It was so good looking when we got done. We said, wait a minute, we're not tearing this up with a dirt bike. We have people come from, it's not Field of Dreams. We don't have that. We don't want that. But we have people come, they've heard about it, they come to see it, they imitate it. I've got half a dozen guys now that are doing something like this in the county.
I'm one of them. I did something like that. Made a moss path down over there. But yeah, I mean, that's actually a great video. It's 10 minutes long. It's like Chuck going over his sort of life and the moss path. Should I just post that as a video? No context, just straight up. It always feels weird for me to just post a video without any context. But let me know in the comments below, yes or no. If I get a couple yeses, I'll just post it as a video. It's kind of good. I mean, I think Chuck is a very compelling character and I love his voice. And seeing those paths, those moss paths, it's really special. It was unlike anything I'd ever seen before. I don't know if the person who bought the property from him has maintained them. I'm going to guess no, because that's a lot of work. And usually when people sell property to someone else, the previous property, the owner who's selling the property will be like, this means the world to me. I would really appreciate it if you would respect it and maintain it. And the people will be like, of course we will. And then they buy it because they just wanted to buy it. They don't give a shit. And then they ignore what they promised the previous owner. I've seen it many times. So I'm going to say no, but maybe we'll check in on that. Maybe. Peter, thanks for the call. Always appreciate it. Next caller.
Hello, Noah. This is Konstantinos calling you from Athens, Greece. I have a question regarding the orientation of your photographs. I think I've never seen you compose vertically, and I'm wondering what are your thoughts on the orientation and maybe aspect ratios in general. Thank you so much.
Konstantinos from Greece, Athens. Amazing place. And it's amazing that the Hotline Show is worldwide. Thank you for calling. Aspect ratio, vertical, horizontal. Just, again, personal preference. I like a horizontal frame. I feel like that's how we see the world. I have shot vertical. In fact, like we saw before with the Kalina magazine, there were vertical, obviously it's a vertical format. So depending on where my work might end up, I might shoot specifically for that format. And, we have vertical pictures in here. I mean, that said, cropping a horizontal frame vertically, there were some times when I would shoot for magazines where they'd request both a vertical and horizontal orientation. I think that's kind of annoying to do both. If you get one photo one way, even if it's a second later, it's never going to be as good. And just compositions are specific. So I don't know, when you're out hunting for them, when you change back and forth, one is going to be better than the other. I think people who shoot a lot of portraits, I think it makes sense oftentimes because you see more their body headshot vertical. But to me, I like an environmental thing. I like seeing space. So I'm just a horizontal shooter. In terms of aspect ratio, 3:4 is my personal favorite. That's what my Phase 1, which is my primary photographic camera, shoots, medium format. I just love that aspect ratio. That's a 30x40, 3:4, 30x40 aspect ratio. I just feel like that's almost like the most ideal photographic aspect ratio. That said, I love 4x5, especially if it's a pure sheet film 4x5 photograph. I love that aspect ratio. I love 2.39 to 1 anamorphic. I love that in film. I like 16:9. I love this frame. I think this is a great frame for television, most movies. I'm not a huge 35 millimeter fan. That's 3.2. Feel like that's just not my ideal format, but it's not bad. Just depends. You can play with it. You can play with the compositions. You have a lot to work with there. I don't really love cropping a 35 millimeter to a different aspect ratio. I think that's weird. I used to do that a lot, actually, early in my career. I'd shoot, I had a DSLR, but I preferred a sort of medium format aspect ratio, so I'd crop that. I don't know if many people could tell, but it always sort of bothered me doing it, even though it was my own work. I don't really love a square 1x1 like old Hasselblad. That's probably my least favorite format. But when I would post on Instagram, I would crop square just so the picture would be bigger. Again, sort of just depends on the medium where it's going. I ideally like to honor my original composition, and I don't like to crop, but I've loosened that up a little bit, and I will crop to just tighten up a composition. It's weird. This is what we're seeing right now. This is a not cropped frame. If I were to just like punch in, it just never feels right to me, even while maintaining the original aspect ratio. So it goes back and forth. Just depends on the circumstance, but ultimately I'm just a horizontal shooter. Konstantinos, thank you for that call. It's a really interesting conversation, and everyone's going to have a different answer. That's mine. Next caller.
Hey, Noah, it's Diana. I have a couple questions. One, I'd love to know what's growing in your garden, what you've planted, what your hopes are. And two, I'm wondering if you can share your thoughts about work for hire versus rights managed shoots. Just got a request for a work for hire shoot, and I feel sort of allergic to them. Just wondering where you stand on that. Have you done it before? Do you avoid it, or is it no big deal? Would appreciate your insight, especially, not having an agent. You just don't know what to do when you get those kinds of requests. Thanks so much. Love the show. Bye.
Diana, thanks for the call. Thanks for the questions. Two good questions there. I'll start with the garden. Mostly normal stuff for this climate. Got the tomatoes, lots of different varieties, trying different things. There's strawberries, there's peppers, shishito, jalapeno, a pepper called an apple pepper, just trying things. Something called a Wisconsin melon is in there, broccoli, cucumbers. Did I say that? Just like, the stuff, food. I mean, I've been thinking about it a lot lately because it's so hard, and there's some problems with the soil this year. I got this compost soil that we suspect might have some weed killer in it that was like designed to kill weeds, but then cows will eat it, but it doesn't go away, and it's actually stunting the growth of a lot of the plants in there. It's really depressing. Soil's been sent out for testing, but man, that's a fucking full-time job to be a gardener, and I don't know how anyone would ever think that they could survive on a garden. We live in an amazing time with our food distribution situation. That's Kevin literally right outside my door crowing, so I apologize for that. But anyway, we see people who are like homesteading and shit like that. Those people are full of shit, not to mention salt and pepper. You're going to run out of that really fast. You might get some chickens though. You could get eggs, you'll get a little protein, but man, you'd be starving, and it's June. Imagine surviving a winter and then getting to June and still not being able to have anything to eat. And then finally you get a cucumber and it has 0 calories. And then what? Like, what do you put on that? Fucking, you aren't churning milk and butter and cheese. It's just fun though. It's experiments. And I think that's what's cool about having a garden. On top of there being a bunch of fruit trees that I'm experimenting with in the chicken run. So there's cherries, there's peaches, there's plums, there's pears. The pears aren't producing anything. What's really happening though is squirrels are coming in and eating all the fruit now. Squirrels just eating the fucking cherries. Look, they're everywhere. So we'll see what happens with that. It's just like a constant struggle, but it's sort of fun. It's a hobby. And if you can do it, or if you have the time and patience, you might as well experiment. Start small, herbs, shit like that. Regarding rights managed versus work for hire, this is complicated, and this depends on a million different factors. I've done both. It really just depends on your personal circumstance. I definitely understand feeling allergic. There's definitely angry photographers online who say if you do work for hire, you're ruining the industry. The industry's been ruined for 30 fucking years already. If you need money, and if it's what's going to push your career, your art practice forward, take it. Usually these kinds of jobs are not things that you feel like you're going to need, like, to have those photos to own, to what? Resell. That's why you want to maintain rights, right? Like, so you can continue to resell them in the future. That almost certainly, like a 99% chance, is not going to happen. And sorry, Kevin, I mean, he's literally right here. Let me see if I can get, hold on. I'm just going to see if I can watch this. He knows that I'm recording, so he's going to interrupt me. This is a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. Like, if you need the money, you're going to take it. If you take it, people are going to get mad at you. Maybe you do it, you don't tell anyone about it. That's a lot of photographers out there. That's what they do. One time I took a job for a website where they literally paid me a salary and health insurance for like 6 months, maybe a year. And I went in a couple of days a week and just made work for them. And I don't own any of that, but it's okay because I knew what I was going to make. I wasn't ever really going to use. So, and it was worth it to me at that time when, I wanted the money. I wanted the security of the health insurance. So I wouldn't be too allergic to it. That's it. I'll also tell you another experience. I've done photos for certain people where they just straight up buy it out. And, you ask for a premium with that because you can't ever show those photos. They're buying your time and your experience and your style. and they want no one else to have that. It's rare, but it can happen. That's that. I hope that helps. If it's hard for me to fully give you advice without knowing all of the specifics, if you wanted to email me, I could help advise. We'll see. Thanks for the call. Call back. I appreciate it. Next caller.
Hey, Noah. This is Pete from down in Texas, not Peter from Germany. I really admire the direction you've carved in your career with the sort of spirit for curiosity and everything you share and how you go about making work. As someone who has stepped away from shooting commercially myself, I'm curious what tips or thoughts you might have for embarking on self-directed explorations that are intended to evolve into being long-form art projects or other creative jumping-off points. I find that my creative inspiration comes and goes, sometimes with long spurts in between them, and I'm curious if you experience the same, and if so, if you have any specific methods or ideas for pushing forward in pursuit of a greater idea or goal of putting out personal work. Thanks for everything you do. I really appreciate the efforts that you take to share work and think outside the box. So keep it up.
Peter from Texas, thank you for the call. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. This is a tough question, and I apologize. Kevin is still crowing right outside my door. Okay. Looks like he might stop. In terms of stepping away from commercial work, that's great that you're able to do that, and you should. I mean, I feel like if you don't have to do commercial work, you should. I mean, there's nothing worse than selling things to people. I feel like that's what's become so weird is like, in some ways, it's become the goal of photography to sell people shit. And I mean, in many ways, that's the purpose of photography is to show people stuff. It's almost more of a commercial medium than an art medium in some ways. Personally, I haven't stepped away from commercial work. I just don't get it anymore. I think, since the pandemic, the phone sort of stopped ringing, and it usually used to ring a couple times a year without me having to try. And I would take jobs and do stuff. But yeah, I was able to sort of shift into more art making from the pandemic on. And, I've been fortunate to be able to do that. But I think when it comes to focusing on creative work and inspiration, I mean, it's hard. But one thing is you got to treat it like a job. You can't just, be like, I'm an artist, so I can dick off all day long forever. No, it's almost a 9 to 5. And to me, it's an 24/7, 365. I've said I don't take vacations. Even if I go somewhere, I'm gonna try to make work doing it. And as a result, I never really relax. That can be stressful. Sometimes sort of think of the alternative and like, should I get a real job or something? And then I think about a real job. I'm like, fuck no. So I will suffer with art making as a career and a lifestyle choice because it's the better of the options. Also, when it is working, it's really fulfilling. It feels really good when you're making that work that just works. And just for yourself, just you find something, you make a picture and you look at that composition and you're just like, I'm the best right now. Feels so good. There's no high better than that. And oftentimes when I'm shooting and if I'm in the zone, any pain, any suffering, any mental anguish that I might have disappears when I'm in it. And I think that kind of high is that chase is what I'm always after. And that's inspiring. I mean, beyond that, it's just finding other things that you might be interested in and just exploring it and then dedicating enough time to finding something deeper within it. I mean, when I moved upstate New York, I didn't know what I was going to find. And over time, literally things emerged and I sort of, got interested in landscapes more, but then also fog and weather and how the trees changed. It just all became so fascinating, and being able to use the camera to sort of motivate me to dig deeper with the chickens. Like, it's just, I knew nothing about them, literally nothing. And now my entire life has changed, not only because I had to take care of them, but because so many things that you hear are references to chickens, and I just didn't even know. Okay, I'm talking about chicken idioms right now, and here are a few. Pecking order, spring chicken, fly the coop, coming home to roost, bird of a feather that flocks together. These expressions, you hear them, but you don't really understand them until you see it in real life, and then you're like, oh, yeah, of course. Don't count your chickens. Rule the roost. Bantamweight. I'm telling you, it's mind expanding. Anyway, it's just finding things that you might like and then just digging in and taking the time. That's the method, is just like time. It's all about time. I hope that helps, Peter. It's tough. Everyone's different. Depends on what you're into. But, you can't give up either. You just gotta, as delusional as it might feel sometimes, you just keep doing it. And because, we all want audience. We all want adoration. We all want to know that what we're doing is being recognized in one way or another. But really, it's just got to be fulfilling to you ultimately. Thanks for the call. That's the show. Thank you for coming. If you're still here, thanks for sticking around. I appreciate it. Do the stuff, like, subscribe, call the hotline, email me a voice memo, leave a comment, go outside, take a walk, take some pictures, write something down. I'll write because I'm doing the newsletter. Just like, it's painful for me to write. But then once it starts going, and it feels like a puzzle that I'm unlocking. And because I use my pictures, I'm just moving it all around. And then when it all sort of clicks together, it's like, damn. Then I pat myself on the back, I put it out, 10 people like it, and then I got to do the whole thing all over again. For what? I don't know. See you next time. Maybe.